Good afternoon. Thank you for coming out. Don't mind the messy office. Been busy lately. Welcome to The Spice. My name's Scott Kaiser. I am the host, and this is the show that gets a little bit spicy. We talk about political things and common sense and all of that good stuff. I hope everybody's having a great day. It is January 14th already. We're already halfway through January 2025. Wow. This month is just flying by. As you get older, it just keeps going faster. So, got a lot of hot topics to talk about today. Some of it you may know about, some of it you may not, some of it you may learn something from today. First off, our disclaimer. Nothing I say has anything to do with or is the thoughts, opinions, or choices of the Molalla City Council, the Molalla City staff. There you go. It's my show. The reason why we're on YouTube is because some people that I commonly refer to as trolls decided to complain that I blocked them on Facebook, and I have that right. And unfortunately, our state ethics doesn't think so. And so instead of being fined and everything else, I'm not going to unblock them. I just shut it off. So here we are on YouTube. So comments are turned on. I have the choice. We're going to start off with comments on. If at any time you want to get a hold of me and we're not live, you're more than welcome to email me. It is en4cer73@gmail.com, and you can leave your comments there. You can leave them here. You got ideas or suggestions, please email them to me so that way I can add it to the list. So our first topic today is, and probably until at least June or July, it's going to be a hot topic, is our state legislature. Everybody voted in a great choice for president. Our state, the voting really sucked. We're going to be dealing with a lot this year, and it's already started day one. So the first big hit with session being started only one day. We're going to start off with House Bill 3075. And for all you Second Amendment people out there, this one affects you. Okay. So for the past few years, you guys have known about Measure 114, which basically wants to take gun rights away from people in our state. Okay. And Oregon Firearms Federation has been fighting this with lawsuits, and they're winning right now. The state can't enact Measure 114, ballot Measure 114, but Representative Kropp, K-R-O-P-F of Bend, has decided he wants to start House Bill 3075, which is going to be on magazine capacity. It's going to make it so we have to get a permit to purchase a gun. So let's break this down. Our state Second Amendment says we have the right to bear arms. It doesn't say you have the right to only bear 5 bullets, 6 bullets, whatever. It doesn't say we have to go to a school. Now, the thing about the permit to purchase, guys, is what they're doing is they're making it so our local sheriff's departments in our state have to provide a class, and then we get a permit, then we can go buy a gun. Well, I'm going to tell you right now from the position I'm in, and if you guys don't know, I am the mayor of Molalla. I'm doing this show on my own. It has nothing to do with the city. These are all my thoughts, aspects, but our sheriff's department doesn't have the funding. Most sheriff's departments don't. You have to have a live fire. They don't have the facilities to do live fire training. So basically, and the state knows this, legislature knows this. So thank you, Bend, Oregon, for voting in Representative Croft. Thank you for not listening, because for the past 2 years, 3 years, I think 2 years, there's been, what was it? I have it written down. I want to say like $4 million used in legal fees, and that's just from Oregon Firearms Federation. God only knows what the state is paid to fight this. Okay? Representative Croft is absolutely wasting taxpayer dollars. And the thing is, guys, when it goes to legislature, there's nothing to stop it. Okay? And he knows the voters don't want this. He knows the people don't want this. He knows it is a Second Amendment violation, what he's trying to put through. To the point, he even put an emergency clause on it. So once it gets approved and goes through, it starts immediately. The other clause he put in it is that if it has any legal challenges, it has to be challenged in Marion County. Now, for a lot of you that know the ballot measure 114, it's been challenged in Harney County. It's getting challenged at the Supreme Court. No, we have to go strictly to Marion County to battle this. Representative Croft isn't even from Marion County. This is what we get when you don't know what you're voting for. And the people of the state keep voting for the same clowns over and over and over again. Was it Newton's theory? Every action, there's a reaction. We keep bringing back the same clowns to the legislature. And we're gonna be fighting this for the next 6 months. You know, you guys, we need to find this legislature needs to find funding for ODOT. They need to find funding for schools. They need to fix our roads. There's a million other things. Let's talk about forest lands. And yet, here's Representative Croft trying to take your rights away. So start sending letters to your legislators, your senators, your representatives. Send them to Representative Croft and start telling these people what you want. They work for us, just like I work for the people in my city who voted for me. And maybe they'll start listening. Now, the group that is fighting all this, which I'm sure they're going to be down in Salem fighting this, is Oregon Firearms Federation. And you can find them at OregonFirearms.org. Okay? Great group. They're not sponsors of the show. I know the head person of it. I know the people that work there. And great group. They're fighting for our Second Amendment rights, guys. And if you think it's some fly-by-night nonprofit, they are not. They are knee-deep in the battle with the federal lawsuits against ballot measure 114. And now Representative Croft has made this a priority on their list on top of this. Now, Oregon Firearms Federation, commonly referred to as OFF, they are strictly donation-based, okay? And they need help. They need help. They need donations. I'm a member. Any dollar amount you want to donate makes you a member. And you get a newsletter. You stay up to date on what's going on with the lawsuits and what's going on in Salem, okay? Oregon Firearms Federation is Oregon's only non-compromised gun rights organization. They have stood 30 years in this state alone. They fight while the people you elect take away our rights. Okay? OFF is not afraid to call out anyone attacking our Second Amendment rights. Like I said, OFF is the plaintiff in the federal lawsuit to stop ballot measure 114. OFF is also a partner with the Firearms Policy Coalition in a lawsuit against House Bill 2005, which outlaws privately made firearms. Now, if you've been living under a rock and you like making your own firearms, a couple years ago it got banned. And part of it, you can thank some of our Republicans. They did walk, but they came back and passed House Bill 2005. So basically, anybody who likes making guns, you have to get all your guns serial numbered now. They have to be properly registered in your name. Now, for those of you who don't know, a little education, they call them ghost guns. You used to be able to order lowers, the lower part of guns, and it didn't have a serial number on it. You had to do the milling and a lot of work. I've done it myself. It's a lot of work. You can't do that now. It's illegal. Okay? And our Republicans and the Democrats, our last legislature, they screwed the pooch. Your Republicans that you voted for didn't even listen to you. They went back after walking out and voted on this. Okay? And they were out long enough so the new law takes place, so when their terms are up, they can't run again. But yet they came back and voted on this. I dare any Republican in our legislature that has a backbone to stand up to some of this. Make your voice be heard. People, please, if you like your Second Amendment rights, if you like to be able to purchase guns, please send a donation. It's OregonFirearms.org. They take any donation. There's lots of instructions. They have 3 different groups there. Donate. Help fight the battle. Because Oregon Firearms Federation is the only group fighting the battle for us right now. They are also a 501c4, and I believe another part of their group is a 501c3. Get involved. They're a good group, and they're here to fight for us when nobody else does. Next topic. Hope everybody's having a great day. Our next topic is going to be these LA fires. Now, I pray every night that all the firefighters there are safe. And part of this topic, guys, might be a little rough, might be a little bit spicy. These are strictly my opinions. Just what I've been thinking for like the last week and a half since he started. And very sorry to all this has affected. I hope Godspeed for everybody. But people, this is an exact reason of this is what happens when you vote for the wrong people. Okay? Bad voting. 6 years ago, most of you remember the Camp Fire in Paradise, California. Devastated the city. Governor Gavin Newsom was the governor at the time. And he brought, at the time, President Trump to come tour and ask for money. Federal funding. Now, if I was a governor and I lost a city, if an entire city burnt down in my state, I'd probably use that as a learning lesson on what not to do again. Wouldn't you think? Ladies and gentlemen, This is a letter from Gavin Newsom to President-elect Trump asking him to come tour LA. That President Biden has offered everything in the world to him and every excuse in the book why he needs federal money. Okay? You can get this offline. It was dated January 10th, 2025. Now, I'm sorry. First time's an accident. Second time, not so much. Now, I know somebody didn't intentionally, hopefully somebody didn't intentionally light the fire, but when I'm hearing firefighters are going down there and their hydrants aren't even working because they don't have enough water, or the maintenance on the hydrants aren't good enough, and the governor had the opportunity to sign legislation to make sure there was water, but yet people keep voting the same governor in. You guys, the thing that's really sad about all this, if you look at everything that happens to California, within 5 to 10 years, it starts coming to Oregon. What's going to happen when Portland lights up on fire? Are we going to get the response? You know, and part of me, I guess, is not as sympathetic as maybe I should be, because I remember 4 years ago, I had a fire coming toward this city of Molalla. And when we asked for help, when the city asked for help, when the county asked for help, governor didn't send it. But yet LA's on fire. Now, you guys think about this. LA is one of the richest areas in our entire country. They have more destination stores, destination resorts. I mean, trucking. Every trucking company has a hub in LA. The state of California has the highest taxes in this entire country. And they can't even afford to have water come out of the hydrants to put out fires. But yet people keep voting the same clowns into office. It's lunacy. It is mind-numbing. I don't know why people keep doing this. But yet they want my tax dollars to put out their fires, to help them rebuild. And when it came to this city, the people of this city of Molalla put out the damn fire because we had no help. Now, we had some local fire departments from our area that we have mutual aid agreements. They came and helped. But the LA fires, I can tell you, almost every department in the state has sent a rig down there. Think about these things when you go to vote. Another thing I want to clear up, this nice little letter, clearing up some misinformation. There were some rumors going around that our fire apparatus from Oregon was held up at the border because of emissions, and that is false. Confirmed it myself. Some of the rigs had some retrofitting of some extra equipment. Nothing to do with the emissions. They're all there fighting fires. None came home. Okay? So please don't spread misinformation. From one governor to another. Let's talk about our governor, Miss Tina Kotek. You guys, she gets on the media and she talks all nice and she cares about the homeless and she cares about everything. You guys, quit believing it. Okay? First off, let's start with her homeless emergency. She has an emergency on the homeless situation in our state. Okay, and I'm going to bring up a couple points to prove that her emergency is a cash grab. Okay, so first off, she's willing to give all the money in the world to Metro and all the big counties. Clackamas County, though not perfect, has done more than any other county in the state. I don't necessarily agree with everything they've done or the status of some of the stuff they've done, but Clackamas County has done more. Okay? Now, most cities in our state are doing what's called an urban growth boundary extension. Here recently, the governor put out what's called her housing strategy plan. It's a crock of crap. Basically, it's made city staff have to do twice as much work just to extend our urban growth boundary. And the governor has put out a cookie cutter plan that is across the board for every city, whether our city and is the same as any other city. No matter what size you are, all the rules are the same. So by her order, it's telling us we need to extend our urban growth boundary to the south. Well, to the south has a 700-foot drop off in the land, so if we went that way, basically what would happen is we'd have to put in $2 million pumps to pump sewer back toward the city. Whereas if we went to the north and to the west, it's flat. It's also closer to the sewage treatment plant. No $2 million sewage treatment pumps. Last Wednesday, I met with the governor's Metro Regional Solutions Coordinator, and we brought up some of these issues. Some of the other issues the governor wants is she wants us to make our cities more dense. Now, for those of you who don't understand what that means, is basically if you have a large lot within the city that can be split, the house either dropped or you can put more houses on it, she wants that. And it's a cool little thought until you start thinking about we cannot widen Highway 211 or Main Street, whatever you want to call it. Can't widen it. We also just got done spending a lot of money on the pipe in the ground, getting it relined, which is going to give it another 20, 25-year life out of what's there, instead of replacing it, which would have cost us 4 or 5 times more to replace it all. That pipe, we'll say, is this big. Now, if everything in the city goes and gets densified, that pipe's going to need to go to this big to handle the flow. Same with our water, sewer, all of that. Okay? Nobody's going to pay, especially the city, is going to pay to make those pipes bigger, especially after we just got done getting them relined. So she says we have a housing shortage, but this is the plan she comes up with. I don't want to see Main Street backed up all the time. It's already busy. We all know it. I still want ODOT to put a light out on Leroy. I still want ODOT to pave what they should have paved 15 years ago. Main Street has not been paved in over 20 years. Every other end of it has, to Woodburn, to Estacada, Colton, all been repaved, not Molalla. And now ODOT has no money. You guys, the other thing that she's working on, or she did at Christmas while nobody was paying attention, she signed an executive order. And what this executive order is, as a city and county, if we go to the state and ask for money, We apply for it. We go to committees. We talk about what the project is. If we get money from the state and that job that we want to put that money toward has 15% or more labor, we have to hire unions. We have to hire unions to do the work. Basically, what she's doing is she's shutting out all the small mom and pop construction companies, or any construction. There's a lot of construction companies, even big ones, that are non-union in our state. Now, any city, state, county, any construction work, it's already expensive. She just added a ton more. So who's talking about this? Nobody. But yet our governor, through the will of her hand, signed this effective right now. Now, I'd love to know how much the unions contributed to her campaign. I'd like her to come out and publicly speak on how this benefits our state. Now, you guys know we have an issue with funding ODOT. So any state project, state is the one who repaves I-5. Well, I can tell you the majority of the time they use a company called Knife River. Knife River makes their own asphalt. They have their own trucks. They hire their trucks, but Knife River does the paving. Knife River is not union. Now, across the river, there is a company up there called Granite. They're union, and they're very expensive. People want to say that our city is not business friendly when they're skipping out their governor is not business friendly. All the while, she's saying we have a homeless problem. All the while, we have a housing problem. Well, how can we make, there's going to be more people homeless with all this crap than anybody's ever going to get help with. There's going to be less housing built in this state because nobody can afford to build. Nobody's going to pay to put a $2 million sewage treatment pump and then build houses. It can't be affordable because all those costs for that pump go into each and every house that would get built. And anytime they talk about affordable housing, you know, this city's building affordable housing. You know what? Affordable housing is one time. When somebody goes in and gets a great price, you know, it's affordable to buy a home, it's discounted by the state or whoever puts money into it, it's only one time. Because there's nothing saying that person who bought that house can't in 5 years sell it for its equity. But yet we keep electing these clowns that have no clue. You know, the governor says we don't have enough money, but yet keeps stopping our logging. You guys, if we don't get back to logging, I guarantee you, LA is going to be the entire state of Oregon. We already are. Look at the fires. Legislature had to go back into emergency session last December just to get funding to pay off the fire bills from all the fires last year because the fires were out of control. Well, yeah, nobody's maintaining the ground. And anybody who wants to complain that logging is so horrible, it's not. You go in, you log, the logging companies clean everything up, they get rid of all the shrubbery, they chip up all the limbs, they use it again for fertilizer, and then they replant. And in 10 years, they go and cut it down. A tree's life of breathing CO2 is only like 10 years. So basically all this old growth, these huge trees that are in our forests that just keep growing and growing, sawmills can't even handle that size of wood. So there's a shelf life. But yet we had the spotted owl years and years ago. Now we got it's too harmful. Now they're trying to force us into electric trucks, electric semis to haul freight. You guys, those trucks, those batteries in those trucks weigh 16,000 pounds. That's 16,000 pounds less than what they can haul. And those trucks are 4 and 5 times more than it is for a diesel truck. But yet our governor wants us to go to electric. They did some research on electric trucks, a company out of California, just out of Northern California. And they loaded it up with a trailer full. It couldn't even get through Mount Shasta, through the hills, before the batteries died. Because what they're not telling you about electric trucks is, yeah, they're good at going flat and straight. But as soon as you put that load, you put the torque on it, and you start climbing hills, it sucks those batteries down quicker than anything. But yet we have areas in Portland that they're trying to make it, or they may have made it, where you can only drive electric trucks. This governor, you guys, I shake my head, because I don't, in one breath, she will say this, and then out the other side of her mouth, she's saying that. And it doesn't work together. It's like two magnets. You can't get them perfect. It doesn't make sense. But people keep voting for this craziness. People keep voting for this nonsense. Onward and forward. For those of you locally here in the Molalla area, about a year and a half ago, we were dealing with our homeless ordinance and resolution. We made our ordinance and resolution, naming time, place, and manner where people could set up. The county got funding and brought in Ant Farm, which is a nonprofit. Basically, Ant Farm plays a liaison role. Basically, Ant Farm went and found people that were living on the streets and got them set up on a voucher program and got them into apartments. Now, I'm not going to lie. There's issues with this. They are living in apartments in our community, and I know there's people in these apartments that don't feel safe, and I want you to know I am working on this. But these apartments have basically become covered party pads for the homeless people. The county hasn't been holding these people accountable in drug rehab or job placement or counseling. In fact, there's some people living in these vouchered units that were evicted from another place because of bad behavior, which I think is an absolute waste of money. Folks, last year, some people at the county were running on a campaign that said they eliminated 65% of the homeless in our county. They didn't eliminate it. They put a Band-Aid on it. They swept it under the rug. These people are all living in apartments paid for by the county, and the county's going to run out of money eventually. They're not getting the resources. They're not getting help. They have a roof over their head so they can go get their drugs, go inside their apartments, do their drugs, or go drink, or go torment their neighbors. We need to keep our foot on the pedal. Don't believe the hype. Don't believe the BS. Okay? I'm going to be keeping a real close eye on the situation. I know our police officers are responding there quite often. I did have a conversation with Clackamas County yesterday, and I asked them, they explained some things to me, but we're going to be meeting with all the cities elected and city managers hopefully soon and discussing solutions because something more needs to be done. If you guys know me, you know I'm not an enabler. I don't like enabling. Um, if I knew this was going to be an enablement by the county, and I didn't approve it, but I would have fought this tooth and nail. Now, do I think people need help? Yes, there are people that need help. But you and I both know nobody's going to get help unless they're ready for it. And if they're not ready for it, there's no dollar amount, there's no doctor, there's no police officer, there's no judge that's going to get through. I don't like money being wasted. I don't like money, if I could, everything I could think of to save this city money, I'd love to get a salary because for most of you, you think, oh, he's the mayor. He can do whatever he wants. No, I can't. I just got done filling out paperwork for the entire year for my employer on my time off. And I'm probably going to have close to 1 month off this year just to be mayor. I get 1 week of vacation from my company and I get 1 week of sick time. And I ain't not wasting it on city business. I'm going to use it with my family or if I'm sick. So basically all that time off, it's close to $10,000, $11,000 that I lose out of my pocket. Okay. I will keep you guys updated on the housing issue, the homeless issue. And I'm not going to let off. Because if the county doesn't want to look into this and deal with it, then I'm going to start getting louder. Now, one thing I want you guys to take from this is I am not blaming Ant Farm. Okay. Just so you know, Ant Farm is a middle person in this. Ant Farm basically is taking homeless people and doing the paperwork with them and giving it to the county and getting them accepted. Kind of like social services for seniors if they don't know the paperwork to fill out. Similar situation. Okay. So please keep in mind, this isn't Ant Farm. This falls on the county. And the state and other groups are already trying to get their money in. And the county's already looking at budget shortfalls this year for when it comes to homeless and mental health and drug addiction. So I'm paying close attention to where the money's going. And I'm going to be loud and proud about getting us some money because we have people that need resources. And if they don't, then they need to get the boot. They can go find some other group to suck off of because I'm not wasting your money. Even closer to home, let's talk about city. So a little bit of 101 here. If you don't know, my name's Scott Kaiser. I am the mayor of Molalla. Of course, none of my opinions, what I say is any reflection on the city council or city staff or the city of Molalla. I am unpaid. I get a stipend. To be exact, I get a $200 a month stipend from the city. And that's it. Every year, first of the year, we do what's called a goal setting meeting. And it happened last weekend. It went pretty good. I had a long list of things that I wanted to get put in place, and a few things got approved by the rest of council. One of the things that I couldn't get through council was I want to see background checks done on anybody who runs for office. And if you're curious on why, look at St. Helens School District. I think anybody that is associated with school boards, school districts, cities, elected to Salem, the governor, anybody, we should have background checks. And to me, My personal opinion is if you're against it, then obviously you got something to hide. See, I got nothing to hide. I submitted to my background check when I ran for office this year. We did have one counselor who refused. It's an option in our city. But I know there are school districts that don't even do any sort of background check on their councils. But yet, if you want to be a chaperone or be a volunteer at the school, you have to get parents have to get a background check and take a child abuse class. Well, I'm the type of mayor that believes in if I expect other people to do it, I should do it myself. So January 22nd, I'm going to be down at the Capitol. It's elected officials at the Capitol Day. And I'm going to be talking to legislature about, since I can't get it to play out in our city or get working on it in our city, I am going to talk to legislature about making it something mandatory in our state. You guys have the right to know who you're voting for. You have the right to know if people are criminals or sex offenders. And if people don't want to submit to it, then don't run. Period. Like I said, anybody who's really against it probably shouldn't be running because you obviously have something to hide. One of the things we will be talking about this year is some sort of funding for the roads. Our roads in this city is one of the major hot topics amongst all the people that live here. And so, to be honest with you, there's two ways to fund getting our roads fixed. Okay. The first one is putting a fee on the water bill. Now, I don't like that because the only people that pay water bills in the city are the people who live within the city. Now, on the outskirts of the city, there are almost just as many people as there are in the city. Those people wouldn't be paying to help fix any of the roads, but yet they drive on. So option B is I want to look at a fuel tax, which I know a lot of people, which would only be within the city, the gas stations in the city. Now, I have a reason behind liking this a lot better. If for some reason you absolutely hate paying whatever the gas fee is going to be, gas tax will be, you have options to go right outside the city. There's two gas stations, one toward Colton, one toward Molalla. You can get fuel there. Most people work outside the city, get fuel in Portland. But the one thing I have noticed is the gas prices that we currently have here in Molalla, and most of the time we have here in Molalla, are cheaper than Portland. Woodburn usually is pretty close to what we got, but our prices are pretty cheap here. The other thing that's a little bit easier to digest on this is I'm sure many of you remember 4 years ago, before our current president was in office, we had some of the lowest gas prices. That President Trump is back. Our gas prices are lower than ever. I filled up my car today. It was 3/4 of a tank low. It took 8 gallons. A 10-cent gas tax that would go straight to the roads would have cost me 80 more cents. That's it. Now, I know a lot of you have trucks. It's going to be, 25 gallons. It's going to be $2.50. But like I said, we have really low gas prices as it is now. And I'm not saying it's going to last, the gas prices are going to last forever. But we got to do something. And I want something fair that affects everybody, from the semis going down the road to everybody. Okay. Now, the one caveat is, and I brought this up at our goal setting this weekend, I want to see every penny that comes in, whatever the final decision is, whether it's on the water bill or the gas tax, every single penny goes to rock or pavement. We already get funding. We have staff. The money that comes in from the state, that needs to pay the staff. I want to make sure, just like the police station, where I told you if you guys did a bond, every single penny went into that police station. Same thing. I am going to work at every single penny goes to asphalt and rock on the road. Now, some of you have heard that I'm trying to work on ODOT to either get them to repave this, which hell will probably freeze over before I can get them to do this, or get them to transfer ownership of Main Street 211 from city limits to city limits to the city. Now, we're about this far off in what ODOT wants to give us and what we need, because what we need is going to be a complete rebuild of Highway 211, from the base rock to the asphalt to replacing that stupid ass sidewalk that ODOT put in at the west end of town. They call it walking path. I call it dangerous as hell. To replacing the culvert over Bear Creek. So when it's done, this is good for a long time. Okay. Now, two things I promise you. If we get this, it is going to make it easier for businesses to come in, because currently, if a business comes in and its entrance is on Main Street, not only do they have to deal with the city, the county, they also have to deal with ODOT. Take that away. Number two, if ODOT and the state give us enough money, which is about a $10 million difference from what ODOT wants to give us, if for some reason that package comes together, I will not vote to approve this unless we have a funding coming in for maintenance in the city. I'm not going to take on Highway 211 without some sort of funding process in play. Period. We have no funding to maintain what we have now. I'm not going to take on more. That would just be silly. So keep this in mind. I am a mayor. They call our city a medium-sized city. I call it a small town. I have to work a day job. I try to get to everything I can. Most of the time I work, leave here at 5 in the morning, get home 4 or 5 o'clock at night, and I work until work is done for the city. Okay? There are 6 other counselors. Get on the current. It's current.cityofmolalla.com. You have questions, you have ideas, you have suggestions, please start emailing your counselors. I'm one vote. And the majority of the time, the stuff I come up with doesn't get approved. Get on, start talking to your counselors. Start telling them what you want to see. Start telling them how you want the city to be. Now, if you're just going to message them and say, hey, we want to keep it small town, okay? Your governor that you guys voted in, we got no say in that. Otherwise, we end up in court and I'm handing money out to the lawyers and the developers. If they buy a piece of land and they want to develop it, I can't stop it. You should be complaining to your neighbors. They're the ones selling their land to the developers who keep city growing. Now, on this flip side of that, as you all know, inflation is going up. You guys see it at the grocery store. You see it with your insurance, your medical, your car. You see it across the board. Inflation is going up. If it wasn't for the growth in this city, such as the apartments, such as new houses, such as new businesses, you guys will be feeling the cost of inflation even more. Because basically, all that growth helps sustain inflation. Just like you guys want raises, police officers want raises. Public Works, who keep your toilets running, want raises. Water treatment facility, they want to make a living. They're the ones who keep the water coming out of your faucet. You got to grow to sustain. We're not getting rich, guys. If you think we are, budget cycle, getting ready to start. We're looking for people to get on the budget committee. Get on the Molalla Current, apply for the budget committee. If you don't like the apartments and all the growth going on, get on Molalla Current, apply. We've had a planning commission seat open for months. A lot of people like to get out and complain. They don't like this, they don't like that. Well, here's my deal. Put up or shut up. Come get the best education you'll ever get. Because, man, if I could pinch pennies off somewhere and put it towards something else, trust me, I'd do it. The thought of going into this year and losing $10,000 to $11,000 in wages, not real enticing to me. And guess what? I'm going to do it for 4 more years. So for 4 years, basically, for just a little bit less than a down payment on a house, I'm going to be your mayor. Think about that, especially when you want to get on and start tormenting my Facebook and treating my family like crap or talking crap to me. Like I said, guys, this is real world. This show's called The Spice. We're a little bit spicy here. But the world is changing. And everybody expects the next person to fix it. I can't fix everything. I got to have people behind me to help support me and be voices to get things fixed around here. And without that, we're just going to keep doing the same thing. I appreciate everybody watching this. We will be back as soon as I get some more content. Show's just going to get better. Session's going until June. And we'll be back here to torment. If you guys have any story ideas, leads, comments, you can email me at 2 places. Kaiser, Keyser, at cityofmolalla.com. If it's in regards to the show, you can email me at CER73 at gmail.com. I hope to hear from you, and I appreciate everybody. Have a great evening. Bye-bye.